At this point in the offseason, Ryan, who are your three biggest winners of the offseason?
It's a great question. Three is not a fair list, but I also know it can't go on forever. They're like the people. Everyone looks at portal ads, which I think is important. And I think when I think of winners, I think of teams that are flipping things around and like 180ing and taking strides. Because I could sit here and mention teams like Duke. Michigan's obviously done well. Florida, I can't. It's hard to not mention Florida, so I'll add Florida in there because they're the same kind of team. But in no way did anyone ever expect for them to get everybody back, especially if they get Ruben Chinyelu back and if they get Aberdeen eligible. Like you have a team of national champions essentially, and like playing it for the third year, which is basically never happened before. So Florida has to be one of them. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of teams at the top of the list. Even like Michigan State not losing their guys, and UConn, Houston did well, Gonzaga, Virginia keeping a lot of their guys and adding on like so many teams that I think most part. I love what Texas did. I've talked about them a lot. Keeping Vukatitis is obviously big. He'll be one of the best bigs in the country this year. He took a big step. But I love David Punch. I love Isaiah Johnson. I love Elijah Freeman. I like Mikey Lewis. Their ads were really good. And even though they had a rocky SEC play, really rocky regular season, they did get to the Sweet 16. They looked capable of beating Purdue and going to the Elite Eight, and they looked good. The record wasn't good. They had to play a playing game. They had to beat NC State to even be alive for that little run. But I think Sean Miller showed in year one, at least, that the system, the ideology, and that things will work with the right pieces. They're only returning Vukatitis, really, but it's one starter who's going to be their most reliant player. And again, one of the best bigs in the country. So I think it's enough to trust that even with lack of continuity and maybe might take a minute for chemistry to gel. I still think that they're definitely up there with Florida, two SEC teams, which I did not intentionally do at all. And then there's a really long list. There are non-powers like VCU, who I really like what they've done in High Point. I think Miami, Florida is a good one. I have to say Florida, obviously, now because we have to differentiate. But Miami had a really good offseason. They're still moving a little bit, similar to Texas, but on a different scale. Like, look at their season on a grand scale. Jay Lucas, I had no idea. I knew he's a great recruiter. We all knew that about him. I had no idea how he'd be on the court as a coach, X's and O's and schematically. And he proved with a solid roster that the system is good. They got a 7 seed. They won a tournament game. They look dangerous. This is what Vanderbilt did 2 years ago. They were a 10 seed in the tournament. They look decent, and then they get the right pieces. They fine-tune the system. They return some of their pieces, and then all of a sudden they're great with Mark Byington. I see the same kind of potential for Miami to do what Vandy did this year, and I love the players that they added also with the Keaton Lewis, Santos, Cyril, they keeping Shelton Henderson and a couple other guys. So I really like what Miami did.
I'm a big fan of Jay Lucas. I mean, he coached under Calipari, so he's got to pick what he likes and doesn't like from Calipari as far as recruiting. But he also coached under Shire, who's a great X's and O's, and another young guy. So I'm a big fan of Jay Lucas. I really like a Caden Lewis, Santos Sorrell. I feel like they somewhat lacked a true paint defender last year, and they've got that exact guy in Santos Sorrell. So I'm in agreement with you on Miami, and I'm a big fan of David Punch as well. He plays like a big guy for a forward who's somewhat small. He's like 6'7", 6'8", no pun intended, but he averaged like 14.8 and got 2 blocks for a guy who's like 6'7" or 6'8". So I'm a big fan of what they've done as well at Texas.